Hello vinyl freaks, it's the Danish record hunter here, and today I will tell you about what I consider the finest heavy rock band to ever come out of Denmark, and they're called Sensory System.
But they have my nationality, alright. I said, I'm American. He could only tip his head up and whisper the forever.
So what I'm holding in my hand is the first release by Sensory System, a 7-inch put out in 1973. The band, however, was formed in 1971 in like Greater Copenhagen. I actually think the exact place is like Hvidovre. There was a book published some years ago, which is called Hvidovre Rock, and there on the cover of the book. I never read it myself, but I really want to. It's just out of print. Like another Danish band that is called Culpeper's Orchard, you can call that group like an English Danish band, because there was two members of the band that was British, especially on the first album they made. The drummer was British, but the leader of the band was Cy Nicklin, and you can say that Sensory System is like a Danish-American band, because there was actually like one member who is complete American. I'm talking about Brian Burr Phillip. He was born and raised in New York, and he came to Denmark to study. So I think he went to the university in Copenhagen. So that's like Brian, and then there's also Krishna Yarbrough, and Krishna Yarbrough, his mother was French, of what I can understand. She was born in France. Probably she moved to Denmark, I think, and she had Krishna with an American soldier who I believe he came and visited the country. Maybe he was stationed, I don't know, but he was Afro-American, and also he had Cherokee blood. So, check out, Krishna. What a cool looking guy. He really gave me some Phil Lynott vibes, with this big afro, But let's get to how Sensory System, they got Brian in the band. I read that Brian Burr Phillip, he was in a record store in Copenhagen. He was playing his guitar and singing a couple of his songs, and Krishna happened to be there, and he was quite impressed of what I can understand. And he went to Brian and said to him, we need a singer for our next gig, so why don't you come down and jam with us and we can figure out something. And of course Brian, he went there and he became the singer of the band. So what is really cool about Sensory System is that most like Danish rock bands at the time, they would sing like in Danglish, very heavy accented Danish. But here, Sensory System, they had the real deal. They had a Yankee vocalist who could really, do the job very well, So Sensory System was considered like one of the earliest heavy rock bands in Denmark. I don't know about that statement. There were some others, but they were pretty early, 1971, and then they had this release in 73. But talking about like the band's image, if you see this picture in the early days, they really dressed up, they had makeup on and was really, going for a glam rock look. But they were way edgier than your, normal glam rock outfit in Denmark at the time, those guys here, they really played heavy and they looked dangerous. Like if you think about other glam rock groups we had in Denmark, that was like the Walkers and Children. They were more like teeny bopper, To talk about how they sounded, Not really like a glam rock band, I would say. This is more like the heaviest of what a band like Sweet they would do. You know, like on an album like Give Us a Wink, you know, and Sweet Fanny Adams. That's more like the kind of stuff that they did. But without the big vocal harmonies and all that stuff. You know, Sensory System, they were more like Led Zeppelin in their approach. If you like the guitar tone of Mountain, if you like the funkiness of James Gang, then you will probably also like the stuff that they did, because you can definitely hear some in here. Let's not forget the other members in the band. For an example, you have Jørgen Werner. For a long time, I thought that he was the bassist in the Maxwells, and also on the first Kashmir album, Jotle Knud, in 1971. But that's not true. It's a different Jørgen Werner. So what Jørgen Werner he did before Sensory System, I don't really know. But there's two of the guys, you know, and the other one is a bassist. He's like a lead guitarist, and he's just like you know, playing like a guitar god. But the funny thing is, the bassist Flemming Bjerby, he was actually playing with Jørgen Thomsen and Kashmir in 1972 on an album called Fall. I don't know what, I can't remember what else he did, but he played on that album. In one of my earlier videos, I said that the first bassist in the band was Jens Elbøl. That's not true. There was another guy before him that was called Jørgen Pedersen. Then Elbøl, he came into the band, and he was replaced by Flemming Bjerby in the end. And then we also have the drummer called René Wulff. He was in a band called Hudli Hood, of what I understand. That was like playing in the late 60s. Some kind of weird jazz rock psych, you know. But Sensory System, they actually went to the studio in 1972. They recorded a full-length album, but it was not picked up by any company at the time. Probably there was no interest in a heavy rock band like this. But however, they got a record deal with EMI for releasing this 7-inch right here. And it features like 2 songs. The A-side is Red Man, and the B-side is The Winter's Over Now. And they actually taken from the full-length album they recorded in 1972. And both songs, they are shortened down a bit. Like there's some soloing parts that is taken out, probably to make them fit on a 7-inch. But this is a really heavy single for its time in Denmark. It's really cool. I actually like the versions a lot more on the album. But if you had not listened to the album in 1973 and you just started out with this, then this is pretty mind-blowing stuff for Danish heavy rock. This sounded very international. That sounded like something that could have been released in the US or the UK at the time. So you listened a little bit to Red Man in the beginning of the video, but I will just tell you a little bit about the song. I read that the track is actually about an American man and a Scandinavian man that meets in the Baltic Sea. The Scandinavian man asks the American, "Where are you from?" And he says, "I'm American." And the Scandinavian guy says, "Oh, the poor red man." So actually the track, it's about you know, the Europeans who went to America and colonized the country and just screwed up the lives of the Native Americans living there. So it's a pretty dark lyric, to be honest, but it's a cool song. The B-side, Winter's Over Now, that one I actually think is much heavier. It has some heavy riffage and also a solo section that just kicks ass. So let's listen a little bit to that track. So in early 1974, the band hadn't released their full-length album yet, but they had signed with a different label that is called Hørkiks. And Hørkiks was like a small underground label in Denmark. So yeah, they signed with Hørkiks and they put out this 7-inch right here in early 1974. So let's talk about the tracks here, because there's like the A side. It's called Come On, and was actually recorded for the full-length album in 1972. So it's from like the same sessions as the first single. But this one is not as, still it's rocking, you know, it's hard rock, but it's more like funky and catchy. It doesn't really sound like the same stuff from the first single. But it's very cool. And let's have a listen to it.
Come on, tell me what you want. Come on, tell me. Hey, tell me what you need. Come on, tell me. Don't you think I know? Come on, tell me. Don't you think I see a girl everywhere you go. That's just one thing I think you ought to know.
So the second track here, it's called He Wants You, and that one was actually a new recording. It was like recorded, I think, in the Rosenberg studios with Freddie Hansen, who was like the producer of all the great stuff at the time, all the Danish rock classics. He was like producing or engineering. And of what I know, he produced this song. And this one is rocking. I really like it. The guitar work is nice. But there's like some added brass to it, which gives it like a more commercial feel. It's a very cool track. And let's have a listen to it. Don't know if Krishna Yarbrough is playing on this track, because he actually left the band around this time. When they put out their full-length album just a couple months later, he is credited only as like a guest guitar player, you know. So but I'm not sure if he was really in the band at the time, because they actually hired a new guitarist who is called Michael Brun, and we will talk more about that. So I hope you liked my video talking about the first 2 singles released by Sensory System. Please continue watching, and my next video will be about the full-length masterpiece of Sensory System from 1974. So please look out for that one, and peace out and take care!